Hi, welcome to Laura's View and Tarot 2. I'm really glad you're here. Today's date is Thursday, November 3rd, 2022. And in this video, I wanted to honor several viewers' requests and look at the diesel shortage that's being reported in the news. And I think we're going to see what the universe has to inform us about it, although to me, it seems like it's a man-made thing, and if man can make it, man can fix it. There just doesn't seem to be the incentive to do so. That's Laura's view. We'll see what the universe says. As you can see, one of my co-hosts in the background is Alieska, who's back in one of her usual spots and primping as usual. And I wanted to show you something because I don't often get both of my fur balls available at the same time when I'm making a video. So let me share with you, this is how they looked earlier today, and quite comfy. And the reason they were staying inside and so comfy is because we got several inches of snow and it didn't get warmer than 28 degrees, so it's not going anywhere fast. This is usually where they go outside and have a little fun, and they've decided to stay indoors. So I thought I'd share that with you. Okay. Now, let's take a look at a couple of things. I did a little reading about the diesel shortage, and it wasn't necessary to ask the universe a question. This is just something I like to do. And I know some of you that are watching me are just starting to wake up, which is what we call it as you look for news and truth from other than mainstream sources. So I like to show you places I find things. I have to be careful. I can't show you every place I read and go because this is a platform that doesn't welcome that yet. But here's a couple places I read about the situation. One place I went was oilprice.com, which had some information about the US diesel shortage is worsening. I'm not necessarily recommending this to you because the author actually, to me, had a rather naive statement in here that if it continues, there's going to be a recession. Well, honey, we got a recession going on. In fact, it by different parameters, it'd be an all-out depression. And then at al.com, I looked at their business section, and is there a diesel fuel shortage coming? Are we going to run out? Okay, so it talked about that because, and you can do a similar Google search about, or DuckDuckGo or Brave or any of the other engines, and just read about this upcoming shortage or current shortage of diesel that's happening. Now, one of the reasons that my viewers, and they included Helen Seiler and Randy and Deb Buckler, wanted me to read on this is that a few days ago, it was reported that we were going to be out of diesel in 25 days. That is proof of how a truth can be twisted and rumors get started. Okay, so as I was reading, what I discovered was our reserves, our diesel reserves for the United States would last 25 days if there was no ongoing production. If for some reason everything came to a standstill, there would be 25 days and we'd be out of diesel. But it's not going to happen in 25 days because diesel is being produced. Now, there's so many hurdles and regulations that new refineries can't open up. For some reason, some refineries currently were having some maintenance done, and they chose the height of the demand for stove oil and diesel season to do it. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? And there are fewer refineries than there were even a decade ago here in the United States. And I realized that there's a push to use clean energy, green energy, things like that. But I was thinking today, when automobiles were invented, no one outlawed horses. They just simply kept coming out with this product that moved faster than horses, that was intriguing and interesting, kind of a status symbol. And over time, and then as time went on, that invention became more reliable. And all of a sudden, without outlawing horses, cars are the predominant mode of transportation for long distances for private citizens. And it seems to me, again, a little Laura's view, that instead of making it impossible for refineries to open up, for pipelines to operate safely, support all those. But while you're doing that, come out with some alternatives that are greener, that are lucrative, that don't catch on fire after a rain. um, I'm sorry, I read something about electric vehicles or a fire hazard like that, and I thought it was rather funny. So they need to keep working on it. They don't need to outlaw what's current. They need to give better alternatives out there that would just be a natural incentive for people to move to, instead of causing so much global discomfort with this agenda of cleaning up the environment, which, I'm fine with that, but let's do it in a holistic and humane way by coming up with viable alternatives that people naturally turn to. Okay, back to the diesel shortage and the fact that there's fewer reserves. Normally, there's 35 to 40 days of diesel in the US reserves. So the 25 is lower than usual. It is. No doubt about that. I'm not going to say there's not a problem there, but let's see what the universe has to say about this United States diesel shortage, and if there's information or advice or insights that the universe wants to provide about it. Okay? 1 second. Okay, well, we're going to do a 9-card spread about the diesel shortage and situation in the United States. And the three rows will be for current, 3 months from now, and 1 year from now. The situation and outlook for diesel production and supply in the United States. Okay, current. We have the 3 of Wands. Page of Swords. And 3 of Pentacles. 3 months out, we have the 9 of Pentacles, 10 of Pentacles, and the Empress. 1 year from now, we have 8 of Pentacles, King of Swords, and the Fool. Well, first of all, I'd like to say that for each of these rows, present, 3 months, and 1 year from now, I'm not seeing anything terribly ominous, not by a long shot. The situation currently is the 3 of Wands, and he is a card of actually some optimism and looking out at new pathways. And the Page of Swords is one of diplomacy. So what we're getting told is this present situation with some diplomacy could be resolved quite well. And part of that diplomacy would be the fact that they're trying to the sanctions against Russia, which are only harming us and not them or their economy. If those were lifted, we'd be in a much better spot right there. Something to think about, but I'm not one of the powers that be. I'm just one of the commenters that is. So that's where we're at right now. There is some reason for optimism, so I'm not getting doom and gloom here for the situation. Okay, and again, remember, those 25 days are if there was no ongoing production or importation. If that was 0, we'd have 25 days. Okay, the 3 month, look at all these pentacles. Now, pentacles are the earth sign there for real and tangible things, and diesel is a real and tangible thing. We've got the 9 of Pentacles here for the situation, and it's clarified, and we're getting a little more by the Empress. Now, this is interesting because for me, the Empress card is my Russia card too. So Russia may be having some impact on our diesel supply within 3 months. May. Regardless, in 3 months, things are going to look a little better, which is good because if you think about it, in 3 months, we're going to still be in some of the harshest winter weather in 3 months. So, stove oil and diesel is going to be needed and in demand. Now, a year from now, let's look what's happening. We've got a skilled labor card here. It looks like, especially if we have some political changes in the next year and some restrictions and regulations loosened, it looks like we could actually be building some more refineries or upgrading the ones that exist so that their production could easily meet demand and even exceed it. Okay, they shouldn't be having to work at total capacity 24/7, 365. They ought to be able to work at about 70%, and that way they could do their maintenance on a rotation schedule and not have to completely shut down to do it. Something to think about. I say that because the King of Swords is showing up here. He's my Mr. T card. So I'm not one to give dates because timelines change too much. And I personally do believe that there's things like quite possibly time travel that can change events and timelines somewhat. But it looks like within a year, the White Hats are going to be more obviously in charge, possibly even Mr. T. And we're going to be going to new places for humanity and for our world. Okay, so I'm going to say that November 3rd, 2023. You can either look back and laugh at me and go, dang, she kind of got it right. Okay. Okay, so that's it for this read on the diesel shortage. There is one. It's not the 25 days and we'll be out of diesel situation, but because of lessened production, there is less on reserve. But the 25 days is what happens if there was no production or no importation. 3 months is looking much better, and a year from now is looking much, much better. I don't think the pinnacles we're seeing there was reflective of higher prices. I think it's just reflective of we're going to be having some big changes and some opportunity to celebrate. The 9 of Pentacles that was there in the 3 months in the center is often an independence card, and that independence can be energy independence, financial independence, or just personal independence. So yeah, we may be getting into some good changes. I hope so. I hope so. In the meantime, since there is a shortage, okay, and that's, just the reality because of some poor decision making and or maybe some evil planning, there is one. So, maybe on a personal level, I mean, we in our vehicles don't use enough to fill up a big semi. It costs them $1,000 to fill up. But we can do what we can to make sure that we use our resources sensibly. Maybe cut out those extra drives or combine your trips or what have you, carpool possibly, use public transportation, whatever we can to kind of reduce our demand and make those supplies available for the people whose livelihoods count on it. Okay. All right. Until all you truckers out there, you guys are awesome. I send you my love and I wish you the best. And you guys have become unofficial freedom fighters across this planet. It's just, you're amazing. You're amazing. And I thank you for your service because that's what it is. And if you haven't thanked a trucker or honored a trucker lately, please do so. They've got a hard job and they do it really well, and they stand up for freedom like no other. I love it. Until next time, I wish you love and light and wish you all the best, and we'll be talking soon. Good night.